Hi boys and girls, it's Mrs. Paddock. I hope that you're doing well. Today for science we're going to be talking about what comes from trees. I have sent to your parents 3 worksheets. Hopefully they're able to print it out. One is a sorting exercise and it looks like this. This is the cover page and then there's 2 other pages attached to it. We'll talk about that in a second. There's also a coloring sheet that looks like this. And it gives you top 10 things that trees do for us. Okay, so important for us to go over that. And then the last page is a sheet that looks like this, and it says what comes from trees. This is the worksheet that I'm going to need you to finish and then take a picture of it and send it to me. Okay, this is your assessment. Okay, so we're going to start off with top 10 things that trees do for us. So this, just looking at this here gives you a really good idea of some of the important things that trees do for us. Of course, trees are home for many birds and animals. So we know that lots of birds will build nests in trees. We know ants like to live in trees. There's also squirrels like to live in trees, things like that. Spiders will, spin webs in trees as well. Okay, so lots of big animals and little animals will use trees. The second thing is that trees feed us with nuts and fruit. So we know things like apples come from trees, bananas, oranges, those all come from trees. But there's also nuts like hazelnuts. So, I know a lot of us like our Nutella. Well, Nutella is made from hazelnuts and those grow on trees. Now, trees are also important because they clean the air. They take the carbon dioxide, the gas that comes out of us, and then it changes it for us. So it takes the bad air and then it eventually gives us good air. And that's actually another point here where makes us air for us to breathe. So it gives us oxygen. And of course we need oxygen, right, in order to survive. Trees also save us energy. So believe it or not, if we have a house and we plant trees around our house, that will help us to save energy. If we plant a tree on the south side of our house in hot summer weather, the tree will help to cool our house so we don't have to use so much air conditioning. If we plant it on the north side of our house and there's a really lots of strong winds in the winter, that'll help to create a windbreak to protect our house. And again, we won't have to heat our house as much in the winter. So it helps with cooling and with the heating as well. So it's saving us energy. Trees also give us paper and wood. So of course, paper we need. All of our books are made from paper. Wood, desks, chairs, houses are all built with wood, right? So we need that. The roots from a tree will hold the soil in place so that the soil doesn't just move away. It's called erosion. That doesn't happen, and the soil doesn't just go into rivers and ponds and things like that. It stays in place, which is of course very important. Well, number 7 is good. They make the world a prettier place. Isn't it nice when we see lots of trees, especially in the fall when all the leaves are changing color? It's so pretty, right? So it does make the world a prettier place. Trees give us medicines. Lots of medicines do come from trees, and of course that's very important. So really important to us, especially nowadays. They provide us with shade, especially on hot days. They provide not only us, but other animals too with lots of shade, which again keeps us cool, right? And then of course the last one was number 10, they make air for us to breathe. And of course we've talked about that. It's true, we get oxygen from our trees. So it's very important. So those are the top 10 things that we get from trees, but there's lots of things that we get from trees. Now we're gonna work on our sorting exercise here. So what you're gonna do is, so that worksheet that I sent to your parents, the one that says what comes from trees, the one that looks like this, give me a second here, this one here, you're going to cut out these boxes and the other items, the pictures that you see there, and we're going to sort through that, okay? So I'm going to turn this over to onto my desk so you can see what I'm going to do. So here I am. Sorry that my desk is so messy. I'm in my basement office here. But we're going to separate this out into two spots here, or 2 sides. One, it says not from trees, and one says comes from trees. And we're going to go through this pile. I've already cut them out, of course. We're going to go through this pile and we're going to put them in which side we think it belongs, okay? So let's start off with this one here. It's a baseball bat. Do we think it doesn't come from trees or it comes from trees? Yeah, it does come from trees, right? It's a wooden bat. Oh, corn on the cob. Does it come from trees or does it not come from trees? I know some of you want to say it comes from trees, but it does not. It just grows on a stalk. It's a plant, and it grows on a stalk. It does not come from trees. That's a bit of a tricky one. Wood for like a fireplace, or maybe you're having a bonfire outside. Wood, of course, that's an easy one. That comes from trees. How about this one? A house. Well, the glass doesn't come from trees, but most of the parts of the house do come from trees. So I'm actually going to put this one here. Okay, actually, you know what I mean? You know what I might do? I might put that one sort of halfway, because some of it comes from trees and some of it does not. So I'm going to put it there. Oh, you know what? The next one might be a tricky one too. Milk. Does milk come from trees? Well, the milk doesn't come from trees, but what about the carton it's in? Yeah, the carton does come from trees. So I'm going to put it in between. So it kind of does come from trees, doesn't it? Grapes. What do you think? Do you think grapes come from trees or not from trees? This is a tricky one. It does not come from trees. They grow on vines, but it does not come from trees. Now this, Lego, I think most of you know Lego is made of plastic, of course, so it does not come from trees. Then we have oranges. I think a lot of you know oranges grow on trees, so that's good. It goes on trees. We've talked about nuts, right? Nuts do come, those nuts do come from trees. And then we have a water bottle and water. What do you think? From trees or not from trees? No, it does not come from trees. Good job. How about an apple? Oops. An apple? Yeah, we know that one. It comes from trees, right? Let me move that over. Comes from trees. Paper? Does that come from trees or not from trees? Yeah, it does come from trees, so we'll put that there. Gum. This is tricky. This is kind of a tricky one too, isn't it? Because it used to come from trees, believe it or not. The gum, the sort of the chewy part of the gum used to come from trees, but now it doesn't. Most gums do not come from trees, but the paper that's wrapped around it does come from trees. So we're going to put this one in the middle, just like the house and the milk carton. So not all of it comes from trees, but some of it does. How about a pencil? What do you think? Does it come from trees? Yeah, most of it comes from trees. Even this rubber part here, it's actually the eraser part is from trees. So most of it comes from trees. So I'm going to put it here, most of it. These are, oh, geez, Louise. These are toys, toy wooden blocks. Of course, that's an easy one. We're going to put it here. It comes from trees. Maple syrup. What do we think? Does maple syrup come from trees? The syrup does. The glass jar doesn't, but what it is the syrup, and that does come from trees. So there you have it. So we have a few things that do not come from trees, a lot of things that come from trees, a few in the middle here that some comes from trees, some does not come from trees, right? So the carton comes from trees, but not the milk. The house, the wood that was used to build it comes from trees, but not the glass or, you know, any plastic parts or things like that, right? The gum itself is not from trees, but the paper around it comes from trees. So there you go. Okay, so that's the sorting assignment. Hopefully you're able to sort it out like that as well. Now what you're going to do after you sort it, you're going to look at this worksheet here. It says what comes from trees, and you're going to think of 4 different things that come from a tree, and you're going to draw those things and then color them in and then color the whole tree, okay? So I've colored my tree, but I haven't drawn my pictures yet. So I'm going to think about what I'm going to put in my 4 boxes here, but I want you to think about it, draw your pictures, color them, and then color the tree as well. Don't forget to put your name on it as well, and then if you could ask your parents to take a picture of your finished worksheet and then send it to me, that would be great. This is part of your assessment, okay? That's about it. So hopefully you're able to do that no problem, and hopefully you learned a thing or two about trees. All right, I love you, my friends. We'll talk to you soon.